The bus was rather quiet today. All that could be heard was the low, gentle rumble of the engine as it was consuming its daily fuel. The child sat upon one of the pleather seats, with a device in hand, one which had been provided to her by one of her new co-workers. The child had once fretted about whether or not she'd fit in with the already established group, but it seemed that two of her fellow sinners had already taken her under their wing. They had shown her the ropes, made her feel welcome among them, and most importantly, tasked her with what had been referred to as Indulgent identity retrieval by logging into the manager's interface and pressing a rather obvious button upon which is written the word extract in bold letters. The child let the sinners at her side guide her as to what needed to be done, and as any good new employee would, she enthusiastically followed their advice. Bronze and crimson lights appeared, sometimes a golden one as well, and each time the child would press the button, her two companions would exclaim and laugh, not only entertained, but also very much pleased with the very, very important task she was completing.
See, Chiquita? I told you a little newbie was a natural.
The taller child who stood in the bus aisle clapped her hands as she watched over her shoulder, peering at the screen of the small device she had handed off to her. The golden-haired child who sat next to her looked on with an excited glisten in the deep blue of her eyes.
Verily! Lady Rie, please, please! I beseech thee, do it again! Try another banner. The target extraction one has your name on it.
Sure, I can try that out. In the name of love and justice, here comes Magical Girl!
The child's eyes were fixed in place, seeing a version of herself totally foreign to her own experience. This reflection looked fulfilled, powerful, and more heroic than she could possibly see herself being.
Is it really okay for me to take something like this?
The child loosened her grip on the tablet and turned back toward her comrade.
Do you think we should call it a day? Manager Dante might want their PDA back.
The taller child leaned down, pressing her chest into the back of her shoulder. She pointed to the device that she had put in her hands, her nail tapping against the screen playfully.
Another 10 pull won't hurt. Dante's got a whole lot of currency left. You'll be fine.
Wow.
The child smiled gingerly. Something about this felt wrong, but the other two sinners were awfully close to her. Don Quixote practically vibrated at her side, excitedly hurrying her to proceed with her activity.
Prithee, milady, just one more pull! Manager Esquire rarely lets us witness their extractions. Surely the next one will grant us gold!
And not if the next one. Then we can try again. I'm sure Dante's got plenty in savings anyway. Come on, Rie, sweetie. One more before someone catches us. One more pull!
One more pull!
One more pull! One more pull!
One more pull! Another gold?
The three children cried out in joy. The tall one clapped her hands and laughed gleefully. The golden one jumped up and down, hollering in excitement. And the fresh-faced one was delighted to be included. Today was going to end on a good note, and for that she was grateful.
Blech, is the Rishi calling to us out there? Tell you what, we'll see you later, sweetie, okay?
The child looked up and watched as the other two got up and stepped away, leaving her in her seat. A gentle smile graced her face as she waved them off. And as they waved back playfully, it was nice. They were friendly. This was good. She settled the manager's device in her lap as she finally relaxed. Her head rested against the back of the bus seat. Her hands fell to her side, feeling the rough, crackled pleather seat cover beneath her fingers. She had been worried that she wouldn't have been able to keep up with socializing with her new coworkers after the past few days of orientation, basic training, and onboarding paperwork she had been put through. She was finally a part of the Limbus Company bus department. Even as a transfer sinner, this was the best possible outcome. It had to be. Her eyes fluttered shut as she let the silence that had settled carry her off. After today's excitement, she desperately needed some rest and time to reflect. To most who encounter them, the sinners of the LCB would be considered loud in the conventional sense. And yet, while she would consider them anywhere from excitable to brash, to her, the time spent with them was anything but. The child had come to characterize her time using two different labels, quiet and loud. The days of her youth at the top of a thriving District 23, tinkering with her own custom set of X-Corp tools, or the time spent in her own personal space with Pafu. She would always see these as quiet days, a time where her thoughts were purely her own. Inversely, the child recalled the thunderous days awash with the thoughts of others she carried. Her responsibilities towards the researchers she bonded with, her own family's high hopes she was trusted with, and the endless ringing from management during her time as a Seven Association beanslinger. While these varied in scale and the weight they placed on her, they were decidedly her loud days. And for several years now, these had become the norm. And yet, despite still hearing the passing ruckus back and forths from the rest of her new coworkers, no matter how vocal they had been, the child was surprised when she had a simple thought.
It's quiet today. A consultation with Sir Virgilius? Poor Sith Lady RODYA! How could you bring yourself to consign a comrade to such a fate? Had I known...
Hey now, no need to let loose lip-sync ships here. What the guy doesn't know won't hurt him, right?
Oh, RODYA, this was your doing? Ah, so we're not all getting new PDAs, Dante?
The dispute was loud enough to rouse the child from her short slumber. Realizing everyone had taken notice of her as she stretched her body, she quickly recognized the burning head of her new manager. Even if these were off hours, being found sleeping in her new place of work was enough to put her in a panic.
I'm sorry, this is totally inappropriate workplace behavior. And I clearly have caused greater fallout with my laziness. I apologize for my attitude and will understand if you find it fit to demote me, Manager Dante.
The child bowed in her seat as if to cap off her apology. While she was hoping her accountability would give her some grace, she was entirely prepared to be fired on the spot. Instead, her new employer only looked at her for a long moment, before taking the PDA out of her hand and turning their head up towards her comrade. She could swear she heard a delighted grunt, as if they found the solution to a puzzle.
Sounds like we're on the same page, Dante.
The taller child's face grew pale, recognizing the implications of her new punishment.
Dante? You sure you wouldn't do a better job? I mean, it's not like I can teach her while you're using my identity cards, and none of us do as well in drills without them.
The child watched the two banter, unsure whether to be relieved or embarrassed that her apologetic outburst was ignored, but it seemed she wasn't going to be the one punished after all. Before she could let her worries fester, the manager spoke again. The child nodded, almost feeling a sense of satisfaction in her manager's voice. With relief, she reached for her sword, now beaming at this first chance to prove herself.
Another one down. What's the make now, Miss RODYA? 10?
Yep. Well, 11 is the one I took care of. So you're learning pretty well, sweetie. How about you take care of the last one for good measure?
Yes, ma'am. Now, it's been fun and all, but don't think I'll go easy on you.
The child had been taking well to her new surroundings, Despite her mentor's limited involvement, she seemed to be thriving in this new form of combat. What she thought was going to become a louder burden to bear quickly gave way to peace, as she could focus on what was in front of her.
I think I could get used to this.